Hello everyone, I'm going to do an emergency little training session here for all of you crazy cats out there that are applying for a silver or a gold quality award through the American Healthcare Association. There's been a lot of questions regarding Section 7 and its relationship with all the other sections, so I'm going to break it down for you in this quick little video. This is the final check that I would invite you to consider doing if you're going for the silver or the gold quality award application. Here it is. Let me just draw this out for you. So first, we're going to talk about section P2B, and then we're going to talk about 2.1B, 2.1C in the silver, 2.1B in the gold, and then we're going to talk about 4.1. I think it's 4.1. Well, I know it's 4.1A1 at the gold. Let me just make sure what it is at the silver. It might be 4.1B. Let me check just to make sure. Yes. Okay. So 4.1B at the silver, 4.1A1 at the gold. Okay. This is silver. This is gold. Silver. Gold. This is both, right? This is the org profile. It doesn't change. Okay. And then we have a mystery over here. This is actually Section 7. Section 7. Okay. Now, in P2B, this is where we identify our strategic challenges, advantages, threats, and opportunities. Okay. Now, for our purposes, the purposes of the relationship between P2B and 2.1C or 2.1B is we typically are only looking for strategic challenges. I say typically because it's not 100%. You can absolutely create a strategic objective based on an advantage, based on an opportunity, and based on a threat. I know. Peace and love. We're going to keep our focus, however, on the strategic challenges and their relationship to 2.1C in the silver or 2.1B in the gold. What this is imagine if we are tracking and trending some data. I'm just going to put up a couple of graphs here just as an example. And let's say that we are trending up in a couple of areas, and we're trending down in another area. And the next question, of course, is, well, are we trending in a good direction or a bad direction? Let's say that this is false. All right, so it's a bad direction. Let's say this is antipsychotic med use, PSY. Another bad direction. Let's say that this is customer satisfaction. Okay. Now, I'm sure that you would agree. If you found that your falls were going up, you would come up with, if I could stay here, you would come up with a strategic objective, SO, to reduce falls. Right? It would become a special project of yours. And in fact, I would invite you to consider to think about strategic objectives as special projects. It's what we are focused on because we found a problem. Leaky pipe? Let's call it a special project. Got to patch that pipe. Same thing, right? In addition, with falls, antipsychotics are going up. We'd probably come up with a strategic objective to lower antipsychotics. And of course, we would come up with a strategic objective to increase customer satisfaction. These special projects of yours that you come up with based on the strategic challenges that you identified in P2B would automatically carry the weight of a required result. Meaning, if it was so bad if your falls were so out of control, or your customer satisfaction scores were so low, or your antipsychotics were going so high, you created a special project to focus on it, i.e. a strategic objective. It is reasonable that the examiner is going to require a result. We're going to want to see evidence that you're able to do it. Like, you had an increase in falls. We want to see that you were able to reduce your falls. You had a decrease in customer satisfaction. We want to see you have the ability to raise that customer satisfaction. Okay. That is 101. You get it. I know you get it. You understand the connection that if you list it in P2B as a challenge, if you list it as a challenge, it has to show up in 2.1C at the silver or 2.1B at the gold as a strategic objective, or it wasn't a strategic challenge. It might have been a nagging, but unless you are willing to do, like we have to do something about it, it wasn't an actual challenge. And everything listed in 2.1C or 2.1B automatically is going to be listed, the result of which is going to be listed in Section 7. Depending where in Section 7, I don't know. If it's a clinical result, 7.1. If it's a process result, 7.1B. Or at the gold level, 7.1A, 7.1B. Right? If it's a customer, it's 7.2. If it's an employee, it's 7.3. You get it. They all coincide. Okay. Now, what if? Let's continue with our little scenario here. This is for all the money. Listen to me. If you're applying for the silver or the gold quality award and you're about to hit send, pause a minute. Make sure this is right. Let's say that in addition to these three key measures, you're also measuring some other things. And these tables look like this. And when we put a little label on it, turn data into useful information, we go, hey, this is unplanned weight loss. This is facility-acquired pressure ulcers. Interesting. This is retention, employee retention. Well, what do you notice, my friends? Hopefully what you are noticing is that, my friends, is a positive trend. That is a positive trend. That is a positive trend. Meaning, when you see graphs like these, you should get a big, fat smile on your face. Fair? Okay. These results look so great that if I were you and I was applying for the silver or the gold quality award, I would automatically put them in Section 7. And I'd be like, look at my wonderful data. And you might get in trouble for doing it. You might get in trouble for doing it. Here's the reason. Because anything that you measure, whether it's positive or negative, anything that you measure has to be listed in 4.1B at the silver or 4.1A1 at the gold level. Has to. So here's the little litmus test. This is what I would do if I were you. This late in the game, we are ready to press send. Before you press send, do this. Go to your Section 7. Pull out Section 7, and then pull out 4.1B at the silver or 4.1A1 at the gold, and compare. And make sure everything that you list in Section 7 is also listed in 4.1B or 4.1A1. Everything. This has to be in equilibrium. Notice the difference. Everything that you list as a strategic challenge in P2B has to be listed in 2.1C. They just have to. It has to. And everything listed in 2.1b has to be, or 2.1c, has to be listed in Section 7. They just have to. They have to. And even though you didn't identify as a strategic challenge, even though you didn't identify as a strategic objective, anything else that you measure that you deem relevant enough to have a result in Section 7 has to be listed in 4.1b or 4.1a1. This includes everything listed in 2.1c or 2.1b, and it includes anything you listed in P2b. There has to be a balance. If it's listed in 4.1b, it has to be listed in Section 7. If it's listed in 4.1a1 in the gold, it has to be listed in Section 7. If it's listed in Section 7, it has to be listed in 4.1b or 4.1a1 at the gold. Do you get it? Please tell me you get it. All right, good luck.